Alright, so now let's try to formulate some like 30-day plan. So if you click on this thing, you can add skills or replace skills or clear the skill queue. So if we want to do clear the skill queue, we just made like the 90-day plan. So that'd be like if you're planning, if you got the game for 3 months and you weren't sure if you were going to resubscribe after the 3 months, or if you're trying to plex and you failed or something, then generally that'd be a good thing to do. Generally, you'd be able to use all of your tier 2 drones, you'd be able to use your tier 2 weapons, and then you'd be able to use your ships, and then you'd be able to start training towards the bigger ships. If you ever get members again, you'd have all of the core skills trained, and all of these skills were free to play. So that was just the last video, light drone operation. So I think we're just gonna look at all these skills being removed, and then we were going to start making a new plan. So we're gonna do a couple plans. We're gonna do like the free to play plan. If you subscribed for 1 month, maybe you would want to get these, because after the 1 month is over, these would be a good core for free to play. So generally you'd have your frigate, right? Whatever race you were, you'd be the frigate. You go to 3, you go to level 4, and then you'd level up all these to level 3. So basically, you'd probably want to get all of your core ships, maybe just the frigates and the destroyers, maybe the cruiser, maybe the battle cruiser. Maybe we're gonna end up throwing everything on here, and then depending how long it takes to train everything, maybe we'll have to take some things off. So the battle cruiser, because we did want to get the main drones and the main weapon skills, right? So we'll just get the battle cruiser for now. So if you were planning to go free to play, I think drones would be your #1 bet, right? You definitely want the drones up to level 5. You definitely want the light drones, because they only take 4 days and 21 hours to train as well, right? Some of those things would take like 9 days to train. So we're also just looking for things that train quickly that'll help you when your membership runs out. So light drone operation could be up to level 5. So I think drones is mainly the #1 core skill, I think. So you got light drones. So you got light drones, tier 2 light drones in 14 days of training. So that's all right. Even with the 1 million skill points, you could just put those right away, and then you have level 4, level 2 drones right at the beginning. And then maybe gunnery. So maybe we'll go with like small hybrid turret or small projectile turret, one of them. I believe they're the same training speed, so whichever one you do decide. So you would get your tier 2 small turrets. So maybe small hybrid turret or small projectile turret as well too, if you wanted to get both of them. So it'd say small hybrid turret required for level 5. 6 days, so that's all we would need. We would just need sharpshooter 3. We would add that to the queue. So we would have the small hybrid turrets trained. We would have tier 2 small hybrid turrets. Perfect. That takes 20 days to train. So literally you could train this right as soon as you start the game. Yeah, you just spend your 1 million skill points, and then you already have up to this. You already have tier 2 guns. You already have your ship. You already have tier 2 drones. That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing to get 1 million points and spend that. So then here, what does this say? View market details, small projectile turret. So these ones are only 30,000 to buy them, so it's not expensive to buy the skill books. Go to these skill books. So in the last one we've seen all these skill books. We gave this character 20 million, and then 2.5 million was on the battle cruiser, and 7.5 million was on the battleship. So 10 million, it's just in those 2 ship skills. Everything else is really cheap. Essentially, you can train these small. Oh, because it was trained to level 1 already before. That's right. They start you at level 1. So depending on what race you start at. So small projectile turret would also take like 4 days and 21 hours for the final one. So there's 26 days. So we would have the main ships research, the small projectile turret level 2, small projectile turret level 3. So you could just train like one of them, right? You don't need to train both of them, probably. You probably would want to train your 30 days on something else. So that would just take a whole bunch of time off the queue. Because we have all of our gun skills trained, we have our ship skills trained. So what else is there? We have our drone skills trained. So So you could do like armor, or missiles, or shields, or something, or energy engineering to try to train into bigger ships. These will probably help you later, but you could just train into another type of weapon, or you could start training gunnery. Maybe that would make sense. Small hybrid turret. Then you would just start training into medium hybrid turret. Or we'll look at light missiles after as well. Medium hybrid turret. Because these you will always be able to use even if you run out of membership. So the last skill takes 14 days, 14 and a half days to train. So that's going to be a long time. So maybe you would train for 30 days and then you'd have 16 days of training that skill or something. Generally, medium hybrid level turret 2, you could train that on your skill tree and then you'd be able to use it later and you'd have most of it trained. Or you could go to missiles, right? Or you could train it up to level 4 and then you just have one level to train on it. That's right. That makes sense too. But we'll just take that off for now. We'll just say if you're going to missile launcher operation, you needed a level 3 missile launcher operation. Then light missiles was 17 minutes. Okay, so it's going to be twice as long as training the gunnery skills. So essentially you could train like small projectile turrets and small hybrid turrets up to level 5, or you could train light missiles up to level 5. It would take the same amount of time. So now we got 33 days on the training queue, but we don't need a medium hybrid turret. So that would just take like 13 hours off or something. So 32 days, 21 hours. So there's a couple options then, right? As long as you train one of the ships up, you could train your other ships later, right? You could always come back and train your other ships later if you wanted to get into the Amar frigate or the Kaldaris or the Minomitars or the other race, the Galantes. You could always come back and train them. These ship skills, they train really quick up to level 3. It's just these level 5 skills that take forever, like the level 5 drones doesn't actually take too long. Level 5 light drones doesn't actually take too long. Small hybrid turret doesn't take too long actually. It was the medium turret took 14 days. The light missiles takes 9 days. So basically you'd have a really good setup for a good combat character that you could use after the 1 month has elapsed, and then you'd have a really good combat ship. Alright, and then yeah, let's just check to see how fast it gets to, how long it takes to get into a tier 2 frigate. And then probably a destroyer. The frigates and the destroyers would be good for exploring and doing low level things, because I think the destroyer takes about the same time, right? The destroyer would take 9 hours. So you could choose the frigate or the destroyer, or you could get both of them later, right? It's only 9 days, 18 hours, so basically almost 10 days of training that could be sped up with implants and remapping. Onto destroyer 1 day, 9 days, 18 hours. So they do take the same. So for any of the races, you could level up the basic frigate or destroyer. Probably, well, the frigates would be for exploring. If you wanted to go explore into wormholes, you would use the frigates, because we could look at the ship tree here quickly. If you look at the frigates, we know all of the frigates are good for basically exploration, especially the covert ops one. So we'll just go to the Kaldari just because I know this one, just because I always use the buzzard. So basically the frigates, the tier 2 frigates, show information requirements. You would need electronics upgrades level 5. You would need to learn that. I think that's free to play as well. It's just the Kaldari frigate level 5 that you couldn't lose. You could learn up to level 4 on free, and then just like 9 days, 18 hours to get the final skill. So this thing, it's a cloaking device, so you could fit a covert ops cloaking device on this ship. So you'd have to train up cloaking as well. Although you could run around cloaked, it has a core scope, scanner probe strength, light missile damage, and it has a relic and data analyzer virus strength. Can fit the covert ops cloaking device. So this thing would be pretty cool to get into, right? So you'd say show information requirements. Let's add electronics upgrades, add level 4 to the queue. So any of the frigates would basically require these skills. We already looked at those in the last video, right? If you show information, If you wanted to fly the assault frigates to do combat, actually that would be pretty good. You would need mechanics level 5 and power grid management level 5 on top of the frigate skill to be able to use these. So you could add these. You could choose if you wanted to do like combat or if you wanted to do exploration. If you wanted to do exploration, that take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then compared to this one, 11 days. So basically the same amount of time. Basically the same amount to get into either of them. But you'd have those skills on your training queue, and then you'd have the level 5 frigate on your training queue. So one of those, 33 days, depending if we took the other one. So we'll just go with the electronics upgrades one. So we'll say to fly a tier 2 frigate, you would need 23 days to be able to pilot the thing. Oh, without the frigate skill, you would need to learn the frigate skill as well. So let's say we did have the frigate skill. That's with training the frigate. Okay, because we're just looking at the Galante frigate, that's right. So let's just go to the ship tree and look at the one that we're actually training into. So Galante, be covert ops would be the same thing. Cloaking device, scanner, probe, strength, relic, and data analyzer can fit the cloaking device. So we're training into this. This will take 23 days, it says. So we have 23 days onto our queue. So now we have electronic upgrades 5 and the frigate level 5. So basically we would be able to go exploring, or if we were doing the assault frigate, we would be able to do high security combat sites pretty efficiently. So then we would have basically these trained, then we could fly the tier 1 frigates or the destroyers if you wanted to fly the destroyer. So these ones are probably good. Show information requirements, you would need 20 days to fly into it, so about the same thing. So let's just remove some things and then try to train into the destroyer. So basically these are less than a month to train into if you want to pick one of these things. So let's just try to add everything here. Galante destroyer at level 3. So I want to get rid of the frigate if we're not training up to the frigate right away. Although you should get the frigate and the destroyer. That would take about 1 month to get into both of them. Okay. Yeah, because most of the stuff is just training up to this. Spaceship command level 4, so you would need that. And then power grid management level 5. Add that to the queue. And then science level 5. So I think we trained science on the other characters. We already can fly the destroyer basically. We would just need propulsion jamming. Alright. Yeah, and then it would take 40 days to train into that thing. If we're looking at the Caldari one, I'm just more used to the Caldari tree. If we were to train into these ones, recon ships, destroyers, here we go. The Flycatcher has light missiles, can fit the Spirit launcher, so show information requirements, 43 days, yeah. It all requires the same thing except for the destroyer skill. So you could go into the tier 2 destroyer your first month, you would be able to fly them and the frigates, and then you'd be able to see what all the tier 2 ships are like. Although that's just to get into these ships, right? You'd have to train the weapons. So I guess the weapons wouldn't really take too long. Weapons would only take training these, because it just said 6 days, right? We just did that in the last clip. Show information required for requirements 6 days. Information requirements 6 days, 5 hours. So you could train the guns really quick for it. They just use small guns, right? The frigates and the destroyers, they just use those small guns that take 6 days to train, or the missiles that would take 9 days to train. Yeah, light missiles and rockets, essentially. Maybe even rockets, right? You could get rockets up to level 5. What's the multiplier? So you could like show information and see attributes. The training multiplier is 1 times. So it would, the last skill would be 4 days and 21 hours to train. So it would be one of the quicker skills. rockets would be like the small weapons, I guess. And then light would be in between middle, and then the heavy missiles would take a longer time to train. So there we go, we kind of got a plan for how to get into some starter tier 2 frigates and destroyers pretty quickly within 1 month. And then the recon and the battleships will take longer to train into. And then we'll just do a little clip of maybe a science character just to make the video like 20 minutes long. So you would start with science level 4, right? Science level 5 would take 4 days, 21 hours. And then you would want a laboratory operation, view market details. So 500,000 to get laboratory operation. So this is if you had your ships, or if you're going into science just because it's more interesting because you get to make everything. Laboratory operation would allow you to run more jobs. So on the top left in the Neocom, you go to industry and you go install blueprints, science jobs. You could install 1 science job, 1 manufacturing job. And then as you level these up, you can install more jobs. So if we were to throw a laboratory operation up to level 5, does that take like 4 days, 21 hours for the last one? Yep. So we'll just, well, I guess we should always be training something. So then advanced laboratory operation. This skill, it actually costs 20 million. So we don't want to spend any more money buying any more skill books for this character, but essentially advanced laboratory operation, if you click on the information button, would say allows you to run 1 additional research job. So on our 1 science character that we were just making, we had a science laboratory operation level 5 completed, so she can do 6 jobs in industry, right? Or he can do 6 jobs, that character can do 6 jobs. And then once we start researching advanced laboratory operation, you'll be able to do like 7 jobs, 8 jobs, 9 jobs, 10 jobs, and then 11 jobs. 11 jobs takes forever to train. I think we usually only train up to 9 or 10 jobs all the time. But then metallurgy would be really good. I think it doesn't cost much. 500,000. So you'd throw these on the queue and research as well, show information. 5% bonus to manufacturing time research. So you'd want to throw these on your queue for researching your character. So I guess we could go buy them. It's only like cost like 1 million. We'll go metallurgy, buy 1, and we'll just throw these on the tree. View market details, buy 1. So these are members only skills. You won't be able to do science if you're not a member's account, although science is amazing to do for making money and making the game more interesting and production and everything. So research would be the quicker researching skill. We can see 9 minutes compared to 25 minutes. So research would be good to level up. So research up to level 5. So the last one would take 4 days and 21 hours. And then metallurgy, like besides advanced laboratory operation would be the #1 thing to get if you have the 20 million and you get the skill book. Start training that. Metallurgy is really good. Then you can start unlocking new skills. So this is the one that takes forever. Metallurgy level 5 takes 14 days. So it takes the same amount of time to train as the medium hybrid turrets actually. So you could choose science or that. But then once all of these are level 5, then they're all level 5, right? That's 34 days of training. If we don't get metallurgy level 5, we'll still have 20 days left of training. So we would just throw advanced laboratory operation on here. And then maybe get some research project management, research and development. Okay, yeah, maybe go look into these. Scientific networking allows you to remotely access your jobs, I think. And then related to science would be production. So that once your science is trained up a little bit, you'd start going into production. Because in the one video I'm going to start looking more at blueprints, like what can you do with a whole bunch of blueprints and researching and science and research and metallurgy. For now, once you have all your blueprints researched and all your blueprints copied, and once you make tier 2 blueprints, and then once you start manufacturing tier 2 things, you're going to be going into industry right after. So industry would go to level 5, and then advanced industry, oh, mass production. Mass production only requires level 3 industry, I think. So it's 200,000 to buy mass production. So we can inject that skill 4 hours. So it is only level 3, right? If we right click it, show information, allows to run 1 additional manufacturing job per level. So that'd be a good thing to get. Industry level 5 is probably required for something, although mass production would be a good thing to get. So as soon as you get level 3 industry, just get a mass production so you can start producing more things at once. I think that's probably a priority before the industry skills. So then mass production. Then you probably would want to, as soon as you get to level 5 mass production, I think you get a advanced mass production. Yep. Just like the laboratory operation, it would say you can run even more production jobs. So maybe this one's 20 million. This one is 20 million. So advanced mass production costs 20 million. You'd throw that on there, just like advanced laboratory operation. And then that's pretty much it. Maybe advanced industry to shorten the times of building things, and then supply chain management allows you to just access the jobs remotely from a different system. So 37 days. There's production, maybe mass production level 5. Wow, advanced mass production, that's right. So if you weren't getting that right away, you just leave it at level 4, and there's like 28 days of training. And then probably just resource processing. I don't even know. I don't think you need resource processing. I think resource processing is just for mining. Like if you wanted to make the mining character, right, you just go ship tree, and then you just go to ore, and you just say the mining barge, you want to fly the procure, show information requirement 7 days 20 hours, and then you just add these to your tree. It would just take 7 days. So industry level 5 is most of the training. So basically the mining ship is just a byproduct of learning science and industry, because this is learned, and then if you train for, I don't know, if you train for like 1 day, yeah, that's all it is. 20, 36, a day and a half. If you train up to industry, if you train for, oh no, it says right there 5 days 20 hours, 7 days 20 hours. So it's saying if you're getting into science and production anyways, if you train for 2 days, you might as well get the mining ship and try venturing into mining. Then you learn other things as well for it. Although you need to research more. I think you need to research like 12 days to mining to be able to use the mining turrets on as well. Let's go to ship fitting. Or if we were to look at the strip liners. So we'll just look at the mining thing. After you train the mining ship, you're going to need strip miners. Like strip miner 1s are alright, strip miner 2s are really good. Mining level 4, you can actually use those as soon as you pilot the ship, but strip miner 2 will require mining level 5, so another 4 days and 21 hours to get that. And then you're going to need resource processing, which takes like 1 day for each one. So if we just go to like skills, so you're gonna have to train reprocessing then. Resource processing. If you market details, so 75,000. So if you were going into mining, besides the mining ship, you would need reprocessing. So we'd learn the reprocessing skill, inject the skill, and then reprocessing would probably be the next step, or one of the earlier steps. If you were wanting to get into mining before science, or before going further into industry, you would just basically get up your mining ship skills and then learn mining level 5 and then learn reprocessing. So I think you might as well just throw mining level 5 on here too, right before this. So how long is it going to train to get into this? Reprocessing, so we're throwing reprocessing level 5 on here. And then mining level 5. So I don't think we need reprocessing level 5 to unlock everything, right? Because if we go show information, we'll required for reprocessing Plague Chase. So just the 4 basic asteroids, you would need level 4. And then if you wanted to start reprocessing and mining the other asteroids efficiently, you would need level 5 reprocessing, although level 4 is good. Then you could get a Valdespar processing, which view market details. So it's not that much, 37,000. But then you'd go inject the skill, and then you would learn Valdespar processing. So you go show information required for level 3 to get the Valdespar mining crystal 1. So there's the different one for each of them, right? There's Valdespar processing, Scordite processing, Pyroxers, Plague Chase, and then there's the other ones that you unlock later as well. So just be Valdespar processing up to level 3, so that wouldn't take too long, right? 3 hours 48 minutes, and then 20 hours if you wanted to level up the last one. So essentially it just takes 1 day to train up to the level 2 mining crystals, which you would use for mining. So there we go, yeah, 1 day, 1 hour to train the actual reprocessing skill. 2 days to train both of them. Well, after you train reprocessing, essentially it's just like train 1 day for the Valdespar mining crystal, to train 1 day for the Scordite crystal, to train 1 day for the Pyroxers, train 1 day for the Plague Chase. Is it 256,000? Yeah, they're all the same, because you could see level 0, 256,000 skill points required to bring it to level 5, Scordite, 256,000. So they would all be the same. Reprocessing would be the same. Mining would be the same. So there's how you would go into the mining as well. And planet management is just like a side thing that you do for extra income. And then basically scanning, you would just get your scanning if you wanted to go into exploration with your scanning frigate. Because the frigates are for scanning, frigates are for exploration, destroyers are probably for combat. And then other bigger ships, nobody knows what the other bigger ships are for. It's only really the small frigates and destroyers that are good, I guess. Cruisers are really good. Battle cruisers are alright. And then battleships are okay.